Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about being careful of where you guys get your crystals from. Now, this is a touchy topic and I'm not going to be telling you where not to get them, but I'll be teaching you about how you can know where to get them at floridastoneman.com. But no, this video is not a self-promoting video. It's actually telling you to be very careful as to where you get your crystals from, because let's just say you get crystals from multiple sources, right? Certain crystals will have different feelings coming from different places. Now, I'm going to give you guys, and I've been waiting for a video to talk about this example too. Let's talk about festivals, or flea markets, or places with open tables. And I'm going to give you guys a very, very good example. Now, how many of you have gone into a crystal store, a flea market, an event, something where as to you see crystals on the table that you're familiar with, but they're in a different shape. They might be in a different size, different etc. Let's just say you go about picking one of these crystals up, right? Like, I always have crystals nearby. Pyrite's a good desk crystal, so let's grab a pyrite. This is my cubic pyrite. It's good to have at a desk, at a desk. So when it comes to a crystal like pyrite, let's just say you know pyrite, right? You know pyrite, right? Yes, you know pyrite. So you pick up pyrite and you kind of feel the pyrite and you're like, okay. The pyrite has this energy. Let's just say you know the energy of pyrite already. So the pyrite is very good for balance. It's very good for just the mental state of being. It's very good for productivity. It's good for energy. It's good for attracting wealth and manifestation and helping you to flourish financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. It patches auric holes. And normally when you hold a pyrite, you don't really feel much. You know its energies. You can feel that it's working. Maybe you get a slight buzz, slight tingle, etc. If you're used to working with pyrite, you know pyrite's energy and you know how it works for you, especially when you hold it. Now, you go to an event. You go to an event, you go to a crystal shop, you go to anywhere that just has crystals sitting out that everyone has access to touching, right? And you pick a pyrite up. It could be the exact same looking pyrite or just a pyrite similar to the one that you had. And you're starting to get different feelings from it. You're like, And people don't know this. It took me a very long time to realize this. It actually took me watching someone pick up an attachment for me to realize this. So, you're watching, you're feeling the pyrite that they have on the table, and you're like, okay, this is heavy, it's really hot, I can feel it in my throat chakra for some reason, like, why am I, like, this is unusual, like, you're feeling it in your third eye chakra, you're getting sweats, you're feeling heat, you're feeling chills, and you're like, oh, this pyrite's different, I can feel the energy of this pyrite. No. You felt the energy of that pyrite, but keep in mind, this pyrite that has been at an event, has been on a table, that has been somewhere that has not been getting cleansed and charged. And keep in mind, crystals are spiritual tools. They are medicine for your spiritual body, your etheric body. They're medicine for your spirit. Now, and disclaimer, this is not a medical video. I'm not going to tell you guys it's physical medicine. I've made disclaimers like that before, and I'll continue to make them just so you guys get the idea. But these are for your spiritual body. You pick up a crystal, which you're like, I know what pyrite does. I have pyrite at home. I feel the energies of this pyrite at the fair, or at the event, at the flea market, and it's making me sweat. It's making me have chills. It's making me have bad thoughts. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff, and people don't even know it. They're just like, they're playing with the energy of the pyrite, like, oh yeah, I can feel the energy. It's like, this, I don't know why, but this was different than the one I have at home, and they're sweating away. They're just playing with it. They're getting warm, they're getting hot, they're getting cold, they're just feeling different sensations throughout their body. They're feeling tingling, like they're like, oh, how cool, I can feel the energy. Not very cool. And guess what they do? Can you guess what they do after that? Can you guys guess? Okay, so they're done with the pyrite. They didn't buy the pyrite. They put it back on the table. Or they put it on, you guys can't see my table. Here, that's a good example. They put it on the table, and guess what? The pyrite stays on the flea market table. It stays on the event table. It stays on whatever table, etc. Now, the pyrite is nowhere near a selenite. it's nowhere near the sunlight. It's nowhere near the moonlight. It's in some kind of indoor environment. Even if it was near selenite, it's not. There's no 8 hours going by. There's no one Palo Santoing this. I mean, very rarely they'll Palo Santo the pyrite, but you still have to charge it too. You can wipe the cleanse. You can wipe the charge off, but that's the best case scenario in what people are doing. They're cleansing and charging the crystal after someone touches it, which is really good, but even you have to do that correctly. Now, guess what? 5, 10, 20 minutes later, someone's like, oh, pyrite. And maybe they have pyrite at home. Maybe they do have it at home. Maybe they don't have it at home, but they pick it up and they're like, oh, this is a cool stone. This one, like, I can feel the shape. And maybe this person can't feel energy, but they don't really recognize that they're already feeling energy. And they feel this shape. They're feeling the crystal. What did someone do 20 minutes ago? They did the same thing, but they held it for a while. They talked to the person there. They gave it to their friend. They're like, oh, I can feel it in my throat. I can feel it in my heart. I'm getting really warm. I'm starting to sweat. Oh, I'm feeling chills. Oh, this crystal's really doing its job. It's doing its work. It's doing its energy. Oh, I can feel it in my solar plexus chakra. Oh, I can feel it. Like, and people most of the time will say, I have like a really hard pressure in my third eye. And the crystal is supposed to be working on their sacral chakra, and everyone's feeling it in their third eye chakra or their crown chakra, or they'll feel tingling or sensations or headaches or something like that. And then they're like, okay, cool, this is a cool piece of pyrite. I really felt the energy of it. You did, but you really didn't. And guess what they do? Someone doesn't buy it, they put it back. And you'd be, if you don't believe this happens, go into a store, a crystal store, a mall, look at the crystals there. Maybe jewelry, and some people who work in crystal stores, etc., are going to get mad at me for this, but if you get mad at me for telling me the truth, if you get mad at me for telling the truth, then too bad, okay? The truth has to get out, and you guys have to know the truth. Now, and I have no tolerance for darkness. I've seen this happen way too many times to the point where I just have to make a video on it, because there's nothing cute about this. And I'm going to tell you what's actually happening. Now, third person comes by, they pick up the stone, maybe they don't feel anything, the person's going through a lot, the person, maybe they're a narcissist, maybe they're someone who has all energy ties cut off, they don't feel anything when touching the crystal, they think it's a joke, oh, it feels like a rock, and then they're putting their really dark, just non-feeling energy into the stone, and they're like, oh, whatever, stupid crystal, and they put it back, yo, man, yo, dude, look at the crystal, yo, bro. And then they just leave the crystal there, and they just, like, fully go off on their business. And then 5 minutes later, someone picks it up and like, oh, cool. And maybe if the person buys it, or if they don't buy it, most likely, this crystal will sit in this shop for about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Especially if it's a shop. If it's an event, someone might buy it, or just multiple people might touch it, etc. The people are not really fully cleansing and charging it. Even if they are, they're not fully doing it always. If they are, then good on them, because if you know how to properly cleanse and charge it, like in Brazil, what they'll do is they'll have the stalls with certain crystals that stay in the sunlight so that they're always cleansed and charged, and they're out doing it during the daytime. And the ones that can't be are like kind of in the back in like a case or something like that. That's what the mines in Minas Gerais, Brazil, where I get a lot of my crystal jewelry from. So even just the people doing the stalls, I don't even know if I really don't think that they know that they're doing it correctly. I think their ancestors and guides are saying, hey, you might want to cleanse and charge these, because these people, if they pick up a crystal and it's not being cleansed and charged, they're picking up an attachment. Ooh, let's get straight into this. When you see people having different feelings on a crystal they already have, and all these people have touched it, which I've given the example, they're picking up all the energies of everyone on the crystal before them. This is shocking to most people, and then it clicks and makes sense. Why did you pick up that piece of iron pyrite at the fair, or iron pyrite at the festival, or iron pyrite anywhere, and you're feeling all these different feelings, and you're like, this is weird, why am I feeling this in a pyrite? It's because any kind of dark spirit, dark entity, a lower level demon can definitely attach to a piece of crystal when it's overwhelmed, because guess what? The crystal's not doing what it's supposed to when it's overwhelmed. Now, you guys have picked up an attachment from a crystal. I thought it wasn't possible to pick up an attachment from a crystal. It isn't if it's fully cleansed and charged, but are these people who are putting it on the table cleansing and charging it? Sometimes, even if they're cleansing and charging, it depends on the people who pick it up. If it hasn't had time to fully cleanse and charge, the people who have dark attachments, like remember the narcissists who pick up the crystal, and they have all these demons around them, and these demons just suck the energy out of the stone because certain entities like sucking energy out of people who suck energy out of crystals. That's why you work with the crystals to get the entities off of you, such as black tourmaline. But what happens if you have a full piece of black tourmaline sitting on a table, and its job is to suck curses off you, and no one's cleansing and charging the black tourmaline, and maybe one person got the curses taken off of them, and they pick up the tourmaline, and the tourmaline hasn't been cleansed and charged? What do you think happens? Energy transfers from a gradient from high to low. You have to put 2 and 2 together. This should get you guys thinking. This is very general for basically crystal stores, which you should be very aware of. Like, you can look at the crystal's energy, and this might turn a lot of people off from crystal stores, but if you're doing it correctly and you're going into the crystal stores and you're like, I know what I want to get, I don't know what I want to get, maybe talk to the people there, instead of feeling the energy on every single crystal around the store, especially if it's not cleansing and charging correctly, then you're not going to be picking up attachments from crystals from other people. Now, I have talked about this for the past few minutes about picking up attachments from crystals, or just in general the ones that you pick up. Sometimes a crystal like amethyst, like a giant piece of amethyst, will be highly resistant to picking up attachments because the bigger the crystal, the more energy it's putting off, the more energy it's less likely it's going to get overwhelmed. A crystal like amethyst can reset itself after like a month, then it cleanses and charges itself. I bet you guys didn't know that, but it does. Let's just say, and I used to do events a very long time ago, and it took me a very long time to realize that, okay, when people pick up jewelry and they're just putting it down, there's something a little off. If you are someone who goes to an event and you want to realize, how do I stop this from happening? You don't let everyone wear every single piece of jewelry. Like I said, these are spiritual medicine. It's kind of like taking a needle that's dirty and picking it up and swapping it with someone else. It's like a doctor with gloves, a doctor with no gloves and blood on their hands just going from patient to patient. It's messy. Yeah, you're switching attachments, you're switching traumas, you're picking up traumas. Like, let's just say you put the malachite over your heart chakra, it vacuums it out. You had really bad trauma, you feel better, you put it on the table, someone else picks it up. They're vacuuming your trauma, plus they're getting a bunch more. And then they put it down, energy's just getting swapped. You guys have to be aware of this. Now, on the other side of this topic, when it comes to be careful of where you get your jewelry from, and I'm a crystal jewelry maker, I've been doing this for more than one lifetime. If you get a crystal jewelry from someone who's flat out dark, even by the most simple, it could be anything, because I'm not talking about one person, I'm not talking about 2 persons, I'm not talking about 3 persons, I'm talking about every human on the planet. If that person, and it definitely depends on the stone, if you get onyx from someone who is really dark, you're gonna feel their energy every single day and you can't cleanse it off the stone, because onyx literally translates to onyx, which is fingernail or claw. It's a crystal that literally has scratching energies towards negative energy, and it holds residue. Onyx remembers everything. You can't cleanse the memory off of onyx ever. Ever. That's why it was such a feared stone back then. This is a really good thing, and this is why they tell you don't get onyx from a thrift store, because it's holding all the data from everyone who's ever picked it up. That's why when you pick it up, you pick up that piece of onyx, and now you're having relationship problems, family problems, now you're having insecurities. It's because that trauma's on the stone. So you got to be careful where you get your crystals from. Don't get your crystals from thrift stores. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Unless you know the crystal, they just got it in from a very specific location. Even when I have onyx, it stays in a mirror box, and it just, I have it 100% fully reset. And it's a specific kind of mirror box, because I have my techniques that I keep to myself, and how I can keep certain energies from the onyx from ever getting tampered with my energy. So when you guys get onyx, you get something fresh. And I make sure that my onyx vendor, as well, is someone who I can trust, because if that onyx vendor gets into arguments with their wife or husband, and that's going to go on the onyx. So even and this is why I don't deal with distrustful vendors, and there are some very distrustful vendors out there. So they'll sell when it comes to getting crystals, I'll have private vendors or people who I know in Brazil. If I catch on to that vendor being dishonest or being shady or having certain drama or having certain gossip or doing things that they shouldn't do, it doesn't matter about the crystals that they'll sell me for me to make into jewelry. If I know that goes into the crystal, goodbye, I'm cutting you off, because there's light and there's dark. When you get crystals from someone, you better make sure the person's in full alignment. That person has to be 100% in alignment. If I'm having a day where I feel like I'm at 95%, I won't make jewelry. I won't. Because I know that goes into the jewelry, into the knots, into everything, every last fiber, especially the wire. The wire holds on to energy on its own. You can cleanse and charge the wire as well. It still will remember. So, when you get jewelry or crystals from someone who is really bad, whether you know it or not, and it should kind of open your eyes and kind of surprise you guys. If you ever, okay, take it like this. Let's just say you get jewelry from a wholesale, right? You get all these different thousands of just rose quartz, and I'm not throwing down wholesales at all. I'm just giving you guys an example. You get thousands of rose quartz bracelets, right? You pick up the rose quartz bracelet, you feel the string, you feel the stone, and you're like, if for someone who's energetically gifted in being able to tell a crystal's energy, you can feel wholesale energy. It literally has an energy to it. If you guys want to learn how to be clairtangent, onyx is a good stone to work with. Well, try this. Because even glass can pick up energy. That's why sometimes you guys feel fake crystals as energy, is because it's holding the energy of the person who's given it to you, and it's holding the energy from your surroundings as well. So some of you who get fake moldavite that's literally glass, you got a moldavite necklace like this for $10. Who are you fooling for one? But here's what you do. And moldavite should be very pricey for a very small amount of moldavite. You go to a business and let's just say Starbucks. You go to the business, when you push open the door and you're opening the door, pay attention to the energy of the glass on the door, and you'll have a feel for the people who come in there very often. You'll be able to tell if it's people who complain very often, or if it's people who are just generally like family people. If it's more of a elderly environment, you'll just be able to feel it from the glass. It'll come to you in like half a second, and it'll just be instant a download. This is for the people who have gotten several crystals from me and who are able to distinguish energies apart. That's a really cool way in how you're able to tell. So just be very careful where you guys get your crystals from. You have to be very careful. And you better believe, if a person who has really, really dark energy, maybe the person, they have bad days and they still make crystal jewelry. Guess what happens? When you wear the crystal jewelry, you're going to feel the bad days in the crystal jewelry over and over and over, especially with a crystal like onyx. And there's no exceptions. Like, even with different, in Brazil, and even from the side of the family my mother is taught from, because I'm not going to say what they do, but they're very gemstone oriented. They basically say, if you're not feeling 100%, you're not feeling at your best, don't make the crystal jewelry. Don't. First of all, you'll get the karma from the person on the jewelry, and then the person on the jewelry will get the karma for sending you a crystal when you're having a really bad day, especially if they're sick, especially if that person has demonic entities around them. Then guess what? You have a little, I don't want to say a contract, because you didn't really sign a contract. You just bought jewelry from someone who has dark attachments. Now they have a link to you. They literally have a link to you. For the people who get jewelry from me, you can feel certain links for my angels on there because my angels help me bless the jewelry. It feels very different than other people. Well, just like I said, this video is not to throw other people down. I'm saying when you guys get crystals from certain places, be very careful. When you guys get crystals from me, I do not make crystals even if I'm at even if I'm at 99%, I'll be like, okay, I got to get myself to 100% before I make crystal jewelry. Because people are going to feel it. People are 100% going to feel it. And that's why certain people, when they go to certain events, fairs, anywhere, whoever makes a crystal jewelry, the energy goes into it and it replays daily. If the person's really, really, really suffering, you're going to feel the suffering energy just underneath the crystal's energy. So the crystal's energy might come off and be very helpful to you, but then there might just seem something a little off, but you're never able to pinpoint it. So the crystals will be doing their job, but the energetic stain, the DNA fingerprint of who made the jewelry will go into it, and you'll feel it. Something will feel so off. It'll have a nagging feeling. You'll just question it every day when you're like, hey, I know I'm not supposed to be questioning it. Like, I know I'm not supposed to be questioning it. Hey, is the make of this jewelry kind of off? The reason it keeps popping up is because your angels and ancestors say in your head, hey, the person was having an off day when they made your jewelry. Or, hey, this person's a dark person pretending to be light, and they made your jewelry. And you'll keep having the question every single day. If not, then you won't. That's not a question you guys should be having. Same thing if you get a crystal, but luckily enough, the difference between getting crystal jewelry and a crystal, like a crystal like the pyrite, you can fully cleanse and charge the crystal and the pyrite. It might still have an attachment when you bring it home because it hasn't been cleansed and charged, but then you can fully cleanse and charge it. If it's a black crystal, such as onyx, it's always going to kind of hold it. Crystal jewelry like this, for example, the wire has an energetic fingerprint to it. This wire has an energetic fingerprint to it. My angels help me bless my jewelry. If you would like your own crystal jewelry from basically the best of the best, from real places, FloridaStoneman.com. I should be putting it more in every single video. I realize when I rewatch my videos, and I rewatch all my own videos, I look at the very end and I'm like, I didn't put my website in there. Some people don't even know I make jewelry. I live this. This is my life. This is not something I have to constantly remind myself, hey guys, I'm selling crystals. No, this is what I live. This is what I breathe. Crystals are my everything. When I wake up, when I go to sleep, all I do is study. I meditate with the crystals. I find new knowledge on the crystals to be able to help you guys. The information online is very, very fluff-oriented. It's full of fluff. It's a good start, but for the people who really crave that knowledge and upgrading their spiritual journey, we'll look for more. If you're looking for more, I have all the information that I come up with from the help of my angels, from the help of my higher self, from the help, most importantly, of God, helping me find crystal knowledge that's not available online. Even that's on the website. Eventually, I would like to turn my website into something that's also, because if you actually scroll through the descriptions on my websites, it's almost like a book already. Eventually, I'll just compile that into a big book to make for you guys. But it's very important that you guys know where your crystal jewelry comes from matters. If you want pure crystal jewelry or pure crystals, you can get them from FloridaStoneman.com. Certain people I know will be fully pure and make crystal jewelry. Yes, you can tell this person has a pure heart. And then certain people you'll be like, okay, this person shouldn't be making jewelry. This person kills chickens and they're putting on the website certain necklaces, and you know the person just killed a chicken and they got bloody hands, literally. Well, that's an extreme example, but you'd be surprised what people are doing behind the scenes. This video is meant to help you guys. It's meant to really wake you guys up and have you guys thinking. If you have a crystal, if it's not onyx, you can fully cleanse and charge it. If you've gotten some kind of random bracelet from a thrift store and you've had a nagging feeling, you're just like, something's off, then it is off. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section, and I have to find a way to remind myself every video. If you guys would like your own crystal jewelry, go to FloridaStoneman.com. It's made with the purest intentions, with the help of my angels, the help of my guides, and it's no fluff. The information's there. It's like a book almost already on my website with all the information per crystal. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!